Q&A, the state of the soul, self, and body after death. Salamun alaikum. All right. After the explanation about the secret of Husnul Khatimah, I hope you understand and can take some wisdom to practice. Amin. Now let's dive into some common questions about the process of death. Question: is every human soul from the Nur Ilahi, divine light, even for those who are non-believers or atheists? Answer: yes, that's right. The meaning of the verses in Az-Zariyat 20:21 refers to everyone. It doesn't specify whether it's just for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam or only for Muslims. However, there are still differences in how it affects Muslims and non-Muslims. We'll explore this further in the next video, inshallah. Question: if when the appointed time comes, the angel takes the self, nafs, and not the soul, ruh, what happens to the soul and what happens to the self afterward? Answer: the process of death is essentially a transition from one realm to another. From the dunya to the barzakh, also known as the alam kubur. The nafs is taken by the angel of death, the ruh leaves the body, and the nafs is returned to the body by the angel of death. This completes the transition from dunya to barzakh. There are three possible states for a person after this transition. 1. If you didn't follow the religious laws, sharia, in your life, when the nafs is returned to the body, the soul and body won't be in sync. The soul will envelop the body, but won't be attached to it. You'll be alive and conscious, but unable to move freely, like when you were in the earthly life. And you'll be accompanied by an ugly being which is the manifestation of your bad deeds and ready to face the angels of questioning. Meanwhile, your body in the grave will decay and be consumed by various creatures, from microbes to larger animals. And you'll experience all of this while being tormented by the angels as grave punishment, or azab kubur. 2. If you followed the religious laws, sharia, in your life, the nafs is returned, and the soul can reattach to the body. You'll answer the angels' questions through salah prayer movements, accompanied by a beautiful being which is the manifestation of your Quran recitation you practiced during your earthly life. You'll experience the minimum pleasures of the grave while awaiting the day of judgment. 3. If you followed the religious laws, sharia, and had spiritual understanding, marifa, you may even be able to return your soul to its origin place. You'll answer the angels' questions perfectly, accompanied by beautiful being which is manifestation of your good deeds. After that, you'll await the day of judgment, experiencing pleasures in the barzakh realm far beyond what those who only followed the sharia during their earthly life. How do you know all this, Adam? Have you had a near-death experience, NDE, or something similar? No, I've never had a near-death experience. NDEs are inner self experiences, not spiritual ones. The nature of an NDE depends on the person's beliefs. If they're a Muslim, they'll describe it in Islamic terms, and if they're from another faith or non-religious, it will align with their beliefs about good and evil, true or false. NDE stories can't be taken as absolute truth because they are personal, just in inner self experiences, not spiritual. Don't put too much faith in NDE stories, even if they seem to align with Islamic teachings. However, if you find wisdom in them, feel free to take it. Just don't treat them as definitive accounts of the true nature of the afterlife, as they are personal, inner self-experiences, not a spiritual one. Rarer still are stories of spiritual experiences related to death, but they do exist. One example is a story shared on social media about a Muslim woman in Indonesia who married a non-Muslim foreigner and led a non-Islamic lifestyle. During her pilgrimage, Hajj, alone to Mecca, she suddenly lost consciousness upon stepping onto holy ground. She was hospitalized for weeks and doctors couldn't explain her inexplicable coma. During this coma, she experienced a simulated punishment of the grave, including being tortured by angels. Her hair was pulled and her breasts were cut by the angel's sword, along with other tortures, the details of which we have since forgotten. Finally, when she woke up from the coma, she cried profusely while hugging her Hajj guide. This Muslim woman testifies that what she experienced during the coma was very real, not like a dream. She genuinely felt the pain when her hair was pulled until it was torn from her scalp, and when her breasts were cut by the angels. After the coma, the Muslim woman's body returned to its normal state, healthy and fit. From that moment on, during her time in Mecca, she prayed constantly with the aim of making up for the prayers she had missed before. She only carried a few dates to eat in between prayers while continuing her prayer marathon. She also promised that upon returning to her homeland, she would adjust her lifestyle in accordance with the guidance of Islamic law. This story has reached us through the Hajj Guide. If you have also read this story and have saved the link, please include it in the comments. Stories of spiritual experiences connected to death are rare and distinct from NDEs. These experiences typically occur when the person is conscious and alert, not in a coma. We'll delve into one such story in the upcoming discussion on the Tawheed decision regarding death, Insha'Allah. So in conclusion, Adam, how do you know all this about the state of the soul, self, and body after transitioning to the next realm? We've learned these details from studying Divine Tawheed or Tawheed Hakiki, courses under the personal guidance of someone we believe to be a spiritual guide, Waliyan Musyidan, Al-Murobi Ru, Sheikh Undang Sirad. He is the one who has been blessed by Allah to uncover the true meanings of the Quran and Hadith and then impart them to his students. When we say true, we mean it's not merely interpretation, it's an understanding of the profound, genuine meanings. Whether you believe or not, Alhamdulillah, and that's perfectly fine. His chain of knowledge, Sanad, and his lineage, Nasab, is connected to Sunan Gunung Jati, a famous saint known for spreading Islam in Indonesia. And if you know the Sanad and Nasab of Sunan Gunung Jati, you might know to whom does it ultimately connect. We prefer to keep our Murshid's identity private, but given that this topic can raise doubts or shubhat for the people of Sharia, we'll share a little bit, as we briefly discussed here. After all, in your hearts, you all seek validation for the accuracy of these teachings, don't you? Again, whether you believe or not, Alhamdulillah, and that's perfectly fine. If you follow me, I do not profit. If you leave me, I do not lose. Sheikh Undang Sirad, Astaghfirullahal Azim, Astaghfirullahal Azim, Astaghfirullahal Azim, La ilaha illa anta, Subhanaka, Inni kuntu minaz zalimin, Wabillahi tawfiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.